Ohjelmayhteistyössä mukana
niin kilpapelaajilla kuten kotipelaajillakin pitää olla välineet kunnossa. Tässä on vinkkejä hankintoihin.
No, web-kameroiden historia on varmasti, en muista koska ne tuli, mutta vaivihkaa ne hiipi ensiksi USB-hän liitettävinä ja sen jälkeen sitten näissä läppäreissä muodostui ne pienet web-kamerat siihen yläosaan ja sitä kautta niistä tuli aika lailla standardi. Se, miten niistä on tullut osa meidän jokapäiväistä elämää sitten näistä web-kameroista, niin on tietenkin nämä viimeaikaiset tapahtumat, kun yhtäkkiä koko maailma halusikin ruveta pitää etäkokouksia. Ja sitten tietenkin tätä kautta myös niiden web-kameroiden laatuun ruvettiin kiinnittää enemmän huomiota. No, tärkeintä web-kameraa valittaessa tietenkin on jälleen kerran, että se on niin kuin oikea siihen oikeaan tekemiseen. Totta kaihan aina voi joku mennä ja ostaa sen 200 maksavan kameran ja se varmasti sillä pystyy tekemään sen kaiken. Mutta ehkä lähtisin siitä, että jos rupeaa tekemään striimiä, niin kannattaa katsoa tietenkin se tarkkuus, Full HD 4K ja sitten tietenkin niin freimimäärä, että kuinka nopeasti se pystyy toistamaan sitä kuvaa tai kaappaamaan sitä kuvaa. Jos on 60 freimiä sekunnissa, niin sillä rupeaa jo pärjäämään ja aika nopeasti sen huomaa kuitenkin sitten, jos on niin kuin matala freimejä, eli mennään tuonne 30 puolelle, tai sille tasolle, niin sitten siitä kuvasta tulee hiukan pätkivämpi.
Web-kamerat, tätä nykyään se on iso osa kaikkea ja tätä sosiaalisuutta ja working from home on 3 sanan parsi, mikä useasti tässä on kuultu viime kuukausina ja se totta kai hirvittävä tarve kameroihin on ja loppuvuonna helpottuu ja striimaaminen ja pelaamisen kautta kun ajatellaan, niin pelaajat striimaa yllättävän paljon. Ja yhä enemmän ihmiset saattaa olla semmoisia jälkeen, että vain 1 tai 2 katsojaa tai ei edes katsoja, mutta kun haluavat striimata. Se on se sosiaalinen kanssakäyminen siinä ja se, että haluaa niin kuin näyttää. Niin meillä on siihen on erikseen olemassa, meillä on tässä mulla on mukana tämmönen Brio 4K streaming web-kamera, eli 4K pystyy striimaamaan ja se on 30 fps, mikä on suht koht ok reitti periaatteessa, että se ei kauheasti nyi, mutta tästä saa Full HD, mikä on sitten taas 1920 1080 niin 60 freimillä, mikä on sitten aivan smooth. Ja se on kyllä erittäin suosittu ollut striimaajien joukossa. Ja meillä on sen lisäksi nyt tullut erikseen ihan oma tuotteensa striimaa, eli StreamCam. Mulla on sitä tässä mukana, mutta siinä on semmoinen ekstra, että sen pystyy kääntämään pystyyn, eli Insta-striimaus pystyy tekemään suoraan niin kuin omalta PC:ltä, koska sä voit kääntää sen pystyyn ja se on niin kuin se automaattisesti skaalaa sen Insta sopivaksi.
Yeah, my name's Mervik. I've been the narrative designer on Little Nightmares for Tarsier Studios. I've been working at Tarsier Studios for 9 years. Before then I was in the UK. I've been in the games industry since 2001. It started many years ago really, like, you know, the company was founded on, like, you know, this ambition to make strange worlds with creepy characters, but then we started working with Sony and Media Molecule, and so, like, for a lot of years we worked on the Little Big Planet franchise, which was an amazing experience, of course. But then we never really kind of could let go of the fact that we wanted to make our own worlds and, you know, original games. And so when we went independent, really that was our time that we took the Hunger concept. And we got funding to make a prototype for what became the Hunger demo and the teaser that we released. And luckily that kind of interested Bandai Namco. So that was really the beginning of the whole thing. And Hunger became Little Nightmares, and Little Nightmares went very well, and so here we are now talking about the second one, which is kind of a dream come true for everyone at the studio. So like in the first game took place completely within the moor, you only really got a glimpse of a world outside of it when the guests were heaving their way up the gangplank. And we really wanted to show people the kind of world that kind of existed outside of those walls, but we had to figure out what that would look like as well. I think a big thing, obviously, as you can tell, is like it's a brand new character as well. So while 6 is still part of the game, you play as a character called Mono throughout the game. And the dynamic between these two characters, their relationship plays a huge part in the narrative and the gameplay. Yeah, I think that's a lot, and obviously, you know, new characters. You can also now pick up items as well, which you can use as part of gameplay scenarios, but also in a vain attempt to defend yourself from some of these monstrous things coming at you. All we're saying right now is that it takes place somewhere on the Little Nightmares timeline. So for the entire universe, I mean, really it's... I mean, there's so many people here who kind of want to make this kind of game, but I mean, Little Nightmares itself really is inspired by this world, you know, and like the world around you and the people and the things that go on. And then we just distort it, you know, we amplify it and just pull it in different directions. Each game has got a theme at its core. Like the first game was originally called Hunger, and you know the theme of that game was consumption and greed, and we just kind of the different manifestations that can take. And we really played with that, you know, riffed on those ideas, and it's the same here. So it's just like the theme of escapism really informs everything that we're doing with Little Nightmares too. And we just let people express themselves and like kind of explore those ideas of like, you know, I mean, personally, I mean, I work on the lore, you see. I mean, it's a game without dialogue, so I don't have any script writing responsibilities here, but my job really has been to expand the world and create a world that all of this can take place in. So all of these residents that you meet and the child characters and the locations and everything that have details, they have backstory, they have like purpose, like what do they represent, you know, so everyone can read this and look at it and then take that off and do their work as well. So I mean, it's a huge book of lore that I've created. So I mean, I never finish anything in my free time, so it's really nice to have done so much work that's kind of, you know, part of this world now. You take your character and you explore, you know, the in-depth of the scenes, and you look for what you can use. Yeah, we have these residents, these monstrous characters that you have to avoid as much as possible, I would say. So there's lots of, like I said, the stealth, hide and sneak elements.
So my name is Patrice Dèseilets. I'm a creative director and co-founder and president of Panache Digital Games in Montreal. And I've been in the game industry for the last, now I think it's 24 years. And I made some games in my past that you may know. Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. And I came up with a little game called Assassin's Creed. So I was a creative director of Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and then eventually I left and I started my company called Panache 5 years ago. Well, Ancestors is all about human evolution on this planet. So the game is an open world action survival game, and it starts in Africa 10 million years ago. And the player will go through this odyssey of human evolution from 10 million years to like around 2 million years. So you'll start at the last common ancestors of all the big apes, up until Lucy, the Australopithecus. The inspiration came from a really practical idea first. When you start a game, you need to build when you do it third person at least, you need to build the character and how he interacts with the 3D world. So at first I designed a game that was pretty minimalistic, but then people told me, no, Patrice, you're the historical guy, so you need to find an historical period. I said, yeah, what am I going to do? I still need that character in the 3D world. I said, oh, if I go prehistorical time, that's all we had back then, you know, our body trying to survive in nature. And then the more I was studying the subject, I realized maybe it would be even more fun to go at the very beginning of it all. So that's why the game starts 10 million years ago instead of being only about, 10,000 BC type of setting. It's all about the fantasy of the apes in the trees and eventually going down on the ground and standing up. And so that's how it all started. There's a lot of different mechanics in the game. It's a game of multiple layers. First is the second to second, like, you know, that character in the 3D world where you actually have to swing in trees and, but it's a survival game. So you need to eat, drink, and sleep. And you play also as a clan, more than one character. Since we spend millions of years in the span of the game, it's not about one guy. It's not about the hero's journey saving the world from the bad people. So it's you plus people around you. You have to make babies, and then eventually make generation, and eventually you may try to evolve. And there's different species in which you can evolve throughout the game, and each species will have their own ability because you grow your character in a kind of like neuronal, tech tree. And eventually, when you start, you're really this ape running around in trees, and eventually you will stand up. And but what's great, it's all about the player's journey, and not what we wrote for the player. So it's a game with a big open world, and it's all systems, and then you write your own adventure inside that game world. If I give you the choices that the player can make, I'm spoiling the entire game, right? Because I'm asking the players this question. Hey, you Homo sapiens, right? You think you're at the top of the pyramid of the food chain? You think you can survive like your ancestors did back then? So the game is not telling you much. So it'll be about you, your curiosity, and you will die a lot, at least at the beginning. Because Africa 10 million years ago wants to eat you for dinner, basically. So it's this journey a little bit about being a prey at first, but even the player not knowing a lot of the systems, learning about them, and eventually, towards the end, you will become the predator of this game world. The game world, that's the main creature that wants you dead at first. You have to, don't forget to eat, drink, and sleep. Otherwise the character will say, oh, okay, and you may even die of not, drinking enough. And also you can die from falling. But then there's snakes everywhere, be careful. Then if you go in a swamp, you probably encounter some crocodile here and there. And for sure the most famous prehistorical beast out there would be the saber-toothed tiger. And there's some lurking around, so be careful.
Mitä tehdä, jos kokosit koneen itse eikä kone käynnisty? Ensimmäisenä tarkista, että kaapelit ovat liitetty oikein. Tässä auttaa parhaiten emolevyn oma ohjekirja. Yleisin ongelma on puuttuva näytönohjaimen tai emolevyn lisävirtakaapeli. Mikäli tämä ei ratkaise ongelmaa, on aloitettava tarkempi vianetsintä. Tähän on hyvä apu emolevyn manuaali, mistä löytyy tarkemmat tiedot esimerkiksi emolevyn vikakoodeista. Jos mahdollista, voit testata yksittäisiä komponentteja toisessa koneessa tai kokeilla diagnosointia riisutulla kokoonpanolla.
Ohjelmayhteistyössä mukana